What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades, and today we are back on the tabletop to review another blade, and this one we've seen before. We did an unboxing and initial impressions of the Twosun TS351 a few months ago, and then I put this knife into my rotation of knives that I am reviewing. I have to carry to review. I've carried it on and off for a couple of months now, and I think I know what this knife is all about at this point, and I can give you a real-world assessment of it. So, as always, I bought this Twosun knife from Justin at whitemountainknives.com. That is the only place I buy Twosun. I don't do auctions and stuff on eBay because that's the worst way to buy anything. I just wait for Justin to get it in stock and I buy it from him. Let's see. Let's take a look at the box. That's the box. Box. That's what you're looking for. Box is out. All right. So let's take care of the numbers on this and get into some talk about this knife, because that's where the shit hits the floor right there. Let's see. This is a full-size sort of EDC knife. You're looking at a 3 5/8 inch blade length. That's about 3.5 inches of cutting edge. And it's a little bit greater than 9 centimeters of blade length. Blade stock thickness, 146 thousandths of an inch, or 3.7 millimeters. Your blade width at the widest, 880 thousandths of an inch, or 22 millimeters. Your handle length, 4 3/4 of an inch, or 12 centimeters. Handle thickness, 511 thousandths of an inch, or 13 millimeters. Your handle width at the widest up here at the pivot is, what was that? 985 thousandths of an inch, or 25 millimeters. The closed width on this, it seats nicely. The closed width is about 1 inch on this knife. It is pretty narrow, and that is 26 millimeters. Overall length, 8.5 inches, or 21.5 centimeters. Your stop pin diameter, 118 thousandths of an inch, or 3 millimeters. Behind the edge thickness on this blade is very thin. I'm going to call it 12 thousandths of an inch, and that is an average of the thickest and thinnest point on the blade. I did hit it at 3 points. That's 0.31 millimeters. It's very slicey, I will tell you that right now, especially considering it's such a narrow blade width. So handle to blade ratio on this knife, let's take a look at this. It is 0.76. That is very good in a folding knife. And your weight is a very svelte 3.49 ounces, or 99 grams. That does beat the 1 ounce per inch of blade length ratio that all the weight purists want to see, so good to go on that. Material wise, we are pretty doggone decent. Let's step back a second. I did not give you the price of this knife, so you're looking at $84.99 to put in a 10% discount code at White Mountain, and you're down to $76.49. So our materials are Sandvik 14C28N stainless for your blade steel, titanium for your handle, back spacer, and milled pocket clip. 14C28N from Sandvik is actually a stainless steel that was created specifically for cutlery. It is a fairly modern stainless steel. It is a mid-grade steel. It is considered to be one of the upper-end mid-grade stainless steels. It will outperform 440C, but I think it's just a hair shy of classics like what 154CM ATS34, those type BG42. How long has it been since you heard about BG42? Oh my God, that's been a long time. I like 14C28. It gives a very balanced performance. Wear resistance on the edge is good. impact resistance or deformation is good, and corrosion resistance is slightly better than good to very good on this steel. I think it is a pretty well balanced steel. It tends to be very fine grained. Sandvik has a fine reputation for quality, clean steels. I have not heard much out of any knife makers, just small makers or big makers, production type stuff, that have had any problem with 14C. It's been very consistent for everybody that uses it. They typically, everybody Rockwell's at around the 58 to 60 range, and I'd say 59 would be reasonable to think on this. I think it's a solid mid-grade steel at that hardness level and with the alloy makeup that we see in it. Titanium for the handle. This is not new for Twosun knives. They are very well known for making high-end, high-quality, reasonably priced titanium frame lock knives, and this one is no exception. Again, titanium for this full it's a part of the design overall. It is a design high point, let's say, for this knife, the back spacer. And then a milled titanium pocket clip that is milled in the same pattern as the handle. It reflects the pattern if you look straight down on it. So that is not a broken pattern. T8 stainless screws. You got a T6 here on your hardened steel lock face insert. It is ceramic bearings on the pivot and ceramic detent. Overall, we're very good as far as materials go, especially considering you can have this knife to your door for $76.49. That is a bargain any day of the week, even the days that end in Y. Let's see here, fit and finish wise, as on most Twosun product that I have reviewed, no matter what it is, knives, pens, chef's knives, I've had all kinds of stuff from Twosun come across this table. Fit and finish is absolutely fantastic. Let's take a close look at this blade. It does have a stone wash finish with a high sheen and some reflectability on it. It is a very, very attractive finish. It is even side to side. Every facet is evenly finished. Very well done. All the grinds are very crisp, very precise. A fabulously designed and executed sharpening choil on this. We've got this long swedge on the back side of the blade, the spine of the blade. It goes all the way up into the handle, so it crowns the back of the blade. And even the etchings, which are minimal on this knife, you've got the Twosun marking on the front, and you've got the maker's mark on the back. And then what is that? That is your steel and model number right there, if I can get the reflection right. Up in the ricasso of the blade behind the plunge. Very well done as far as fit and finish. The edge grind on this, the secondary bevel, is very tight all the way up to the tip. The tip is not rolled. It is crisp and it pierces instantly. Instantly piercing. So very good job done overall on this blade. There is no jimping on this knife. Honestly, even though I'm a little bit of a jimping snob, I don't mind it so much on this knife that I consider being more of a gentleman's carry than a utilitarian work knife. Let's see. Fit and finish on the handle is it's Twosun. It's a Twosun titanium frame lock. It is absolutely perfect. Everything that is crisp is crisp. Everything is machined well. I don't see any machining chatter or finishing issues or fitment issues. Everything is flat on it. It's pretty much universal side to side as far as the machining goes. I don't see any issues here. I don't see any issues at all, fit and finish wise. I mean, there you go. You're looking at it. You are looking at it right now. You've got a bead blasty, sort of stone washy finish on this. It's a two-stage finish that they do a bead blast and then a stone wash. So that is what you're seeing there, dumbed down, but a little bit of sheen to it, just enough surface effect from that stone wash to give it some sort of pop on the surface along with the milling pattern. So there you go, fit and finish is pretty doggone decent on this thing. Let's get into the action, and it is, again, it's Twosun. Ball bearing, frame lock sort of action. The detent, absolutely perfect. I could not ask for a better detent. It is one of those knives that likes to run a little more tension on the pivot, and on my particular example, there is quite a bit of lock bar tension, and it's wanting to push the blade when it's closed. It's wanting to push it off of center. So this knife wants to run a little tighter for the centering on the blade. So that's, it's no big deal, guys. It's not like it's locked up tight and it's nothing but a fixed blade now. It's still very smooth. It's shake down, but it's very smooth. And I could loosen it up just a little bit more. It would take that centering off a little bit, but there's no play in the blade. It doesn't affect the lockup or anything. If you absolutely wanted it to be a fidget toy, but I am fine with it as it is. You know, your mileage may vary. But as far as I'm concerned, the action is spot on this thing. It's just, overall, it's a pretty impressive knife as always from Twosun knives. Let's get into this utilitarian usage, and this is where this knife kind of hits a wall. There's a couple of things. As much as I love a trailing point blade, the tip being so high does make it a little hard to use for certain cuts. Most cuts it doesn't affect at all. You've got plenty of belly here for any slashing cut, any sort of push cut like this. The only thing that it really is not good at is sort of a utilitarian cut where you're going to get your tip right down on your material. You've got to get the handle way up high, completely vertical, because that tip is really high. That's really the only place it falls short. Now, as far as the handle design is okay. I want to preface this by saying there's absolutely nothing wrong with this handle design. Please don't think that there is by what I'm going to say. But I am going to say this handle suffers from one niggly little thing that handle designs like this do. The handle is wide open up here, going all the way back across the back of the handle, across the inside of the handle, wide open. You've got this nice area here that is going to act as a sort of protection forward choil to keep you from sliding up towards the blade edge in any thrusting motion. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with the handle until you get right back here to the tip of the butt end. Handle designs that come up in the center, come back down, and then flare up at the back, there is an issue with those designs. It is a trade-off for that design decision. So we're holding this in our hand. We're working. That's okay. Except this part of the handle, it wants to push up into your palm. So the bigger your hands get, my hands are large with medium length fingers, but if you have extra large hands, you may not like this knife because that is going to be a little more up in your hand, and that is going to be a hot spot there for continuous use. That is sort of a trade-off for this type of design. Again, in my hand, large size hands, you can see it's not an issue. That is just flush with the end of my hand, so I'm not having any issue with it. I just wanted to mention that for extra large-handed individuals, because the knife is a full-size knife. Overall, the size and everything is good to go. You're just going to sort of run into that on that back corner if you've got pretty large hands. So there you go. Other than that, it is very utilitarian. Nice arch on the back strap here. Nice shape on the inside. The butt end is there for butt capping this if you want. It's not as comfortable as it could be because this is a pretty good angle getting back, so you've got to get over the tip of that tail. Again, that's going to be part of the trade-off. I very, very seldom ever use this grip with a folding knife, so I don't think that's any big deal at all. Just letting you know so you can make an educated decision about this knife. Let's see. Overall, I'm going to give this knife a thumbs up. It's very stylized. It's very attractive. It does have a utilitarian side to it, although I would not rate it up there in utilitarian level as a true working tool. It is fine as a carry knife. It's fine as an EDC knife. You need to break down a cardboard box. You need to cut a thread off of something. You need to cut a zip tie off of something. Just everyday sort of cutting task. It's fine. Now, would I want to cut down hundreds of pieces of cardboard with this? Absolutely not. I just don't like the handle design for that type of extended utilitarian use. But overall, I think the knife is a balance of what it is. Okay, balance what it actually is to your expectations. Don't expect it to be something it's not. And I think you would be very pleased with it for what it is, which in my opinion is a very impressively designed, impressively machined, very smooth, high quality feeling sort of gentleman's EDC. It looks good in the pocket even. I don't have my pocket. Now, I don't have my pocket out here, guys, but it looks good in the pocket because you've got this sculpted clip on it and it reflects the design of the handle. So you get that when the knife is in the pocket. I think that's an addition. I like the big-headed hardware on it. You know what? It just is a very attractive knife. And it does have a very slicey edge on it. It is very slicey. It came very sharp. I think it's just a good knife overall for what it is. Don't expect it to be your everyday hard use work knife and you will be perfectly happy with it. Let's do a size comparison and then we will get right out of here, and let's bring in a standard here. We're going to bring in the Paramilitary 2, of course. And you are going to see they are pretty much the exact same size. Now, that said, you are getting slightly more cutting edge out of this Twosun TS351. You see down here where that is. That blade edge is further back in the ricasso area of the knife where the blade edge stops earlier on the Spyderco, and the ricasso area is much wider, much more lost space. Always been one of the downfalls of the blade to handle ratio and a cutting efficiency of the Paramilitary. It does lose some cutting edge and balance in the design. That's very good in this knife at the same size. Let's bring that Paramilitary 2 back out here closed, and we'll show you how narrow this is as far as carrying it in your pocket. That's the difference between this knife and a Paramilitary 2. Of course, Paramilitary 2, American-made, premium steels, multiple options and choices. This is Chinese made, and it's only available in this one steel. It's probably also available in D2, and they may do an M390 version of it. That would be interesting. I still think that the handle, it keeps it sort of restricted down to gentleman's EDC regardless of what the blade steel is. So I'm okay at this price point with the 14C28N. There you go. That is it. That is the Twosun TS351 in a nutshell here at Baz Arm Blades. I can recommend it. My advice is honest expectations of what this design is going for and is good for in my opinion. Again, your mileage may vary. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.